actually go after ICE, federal agents, for kidnapping charges. That is something that the sheriff of Ramsey County, Bob Fletcher, and the county attorney, John Choi, talked about today. And County Attorney Choi is with us on the John Schuster Coldwell Banker Hotline right now to talk about this investigation that Ramsey County is looking at. John, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me on, Jason, and nice to be on with your listeners today.
So this is that, and people remember this image, the Hmong American man standing on the doorstep, the sort of blanket over him, no shirt, wearing what appeared to be underwear, hauled out by federal agents. Let me just start with the question of do you guys even have a chance to prosecute federal agents who are doing their job? This was their job. Even if they screwed up, does it make sense for them to potentially be criminally liable for kidnapping?
Well, I think what we're doing is we're trying to get to the truth of what happened and to investigate the facts. And part of what we announced today was that we need that cooperation from the federal government. But we have come a long way in the state investigation. And that's the public interest that we have, is to investigate the facts and then uphold Minnesota law. We have a sovereign right as Minnesotans to uphold our state laws. And so just because you are a law enforcement officer doing supposedly your job, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're immune to accountability under our state laws. And what we talked about today were certainly two charges that could be appropriate, but we don't know until we get all the facts. But one of them certainly is kidnapping, and the other one is false imprisonment. In fact, I would argue that false imprisonment is a felony crime that was created by the legislature just for this very purpose, to hold people who have authority under the law to enforce it and to arrest people, that if you do it in a way that is contrary to the law and the facts support a criminal charge, you should be held accountable.
But couldn't you see a scenario where a Ramsey County sheriff's deputy hauls in and arrests the wrong person? We've heard stories over the years of search warrants kind of served at the wrong house. I mean, I guess I'm concerned about this idea of are we going to really prosecute people who screwed up? You even could argue that they were negligent in some way, or should maybe be disciplined internally in the department. Does it make sense to go after them in a criminal sense?
Well, I mean, I think we prosecute law enforcement officers here locally when they do break the law. And why should federal agents have a special exception for them? I know the complexity of prosecuting a federal agent is going to be a little bit different in the context of they're going to have a defense under the supremacy clause and some of the things that you talked about, the fact that they were just doing their job. But there is no law enforcement agency that does the things that happened during Operation Metro Surge.
Yeah, no question. There's no question about that. I mean, it's part of why I was so outraged as somebody who is in favor of immigration law being enforced, but the way they were doing it was so beyond the level of any normal Minnesota law enforcement, for sure.
Yeah, and I think we have the right to explore whether or not that broke Minnesota law. And what we need right now is to just be able to continue on with that investigation. We're asking for cooperation from the federal government. And we'll see where that goes. They have until the end of April. We've sent something called a TUI demand letter, which basically allows for us to put ourselves in a better position if we have to either sue the federal government to obtain the information that we need to fully understand what happened. And another opportunity or available avenue is to convene a local Ramsey County grand jury and do an investigation through that body and then bring forward charges if they are appropriate. We don't have a predetermined agenda here. about criminal charges. It's about doing an adequate criminal investigation. We believe that there's probable cause to move forward, and so we're going to continue to investigate, and if appropriate, we will charge the people that should be charged under state law. And I think there's also a 10th Amendment, which allows for states to be able to enact and enforce their own state and local laws.
So how does this go as we talk with John Choi, the Ramsey County attorney? The basic facts of this is that DHS was saying they were looking for a sex offender on the day they went into Tao's home. But we know, and they certainly could have easily found out, that this sex offender was already in custody at the time and did not live at that home. But what I guess, of the facts we know about this so far, what to you rises to the level of like, this is beyond just they made a mistake? Because
Jason, they busted through the door and they took him out of his home without consent. You cannot enter someone's home without a third party or judicial warrant. We believe that there was not one in this particular case. That's a gross violation of our Constitution. I mean, you ask any legal scholar and they will tell you that is like basic 101 law enforcement. And so what happened here, I think the facts are egregious in terms of what we know, but we need to seek out more information. And again, he was taken out of his home.
Is that the distinction where, because they went into his house, because they broke into his house?
Well, I mean, I think you've got to focus on the elements of what actually is a charge for, let's say, kidnapping. I mean, one of the things that you're going to be looking at was did the perpetrator seize and confine, the person, and did they use fear, force, or fraud? Did the victim consent or not consent? In this case, we believe that the victim did not consent. Was there
clearly not? I mean, come on, though. No one I mean, these are Department of Homeland Security agents who are out looking for people who are here without proper documentation, people who they thought were here illegally. It's not like they were just looking to kidnap a guy.
I think everybody needs to do their job under the confines of the law. Minnesota law enforcement does it for the most part every day, and we don't have these issues. But what we saw was a gross violation, I think, of our laws potentially and our Constitution. And we need to draw a line and say what's okay and what's not okay. Otherwise, without this accountability, it's a horrible future for all of us when we don't enforce our own laws.
Super interesting stuff. John Choi, thank you for being with us and explaining your thinking on this. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much. Thanks for your time.